Hey, before we get going today, I wanted to give you a heads up. Before you know it, Halloween's going to be here, and then Thanksgiving, and then Christmas, and then New Year's. And then we're going to have to worry about, how do I pay for all this holiday spending? Let's go ahead and make a New Year's resolutions list. And let me go ahead and guess. Last year and every year before that, 2 of your resolutions were pay some debt off, save some money. I can help you do both of those. Check both of the boxes at savewithconrad.com. And how's this for starters? No house payments until next year. I mean, let's face it, your single biggest bill, that's your house payment. Well, if you got to pocket that cash for both November and December, wouldn't that make the holiday season just a whole heck of a lot easier? Of course it would. And let me also talk to you if you've got credit card debt. Man, you know you can do better than that. What is your rate on that credit card right now? 28%, 31%? You know those interest rates are too high, and you know you can do better. Not only that, did you know that the interest you pay on those credit cards is not only sky high, it's also not tax deductible, whereas the interest you pay on your mortgage is tax deductible. So if you could get a better rate, a greater tax deduction, skip your next 2 house payments, and come next year, a lower monthly payment, what are you waiting for? We're routinely helping our listeners save $500, $600, $700, even $800 a month. But how much can you save? It's free to find out right now at savewithconrad.com. And I want to give you a heads up, we're not a bank or a credit union. We're not going to say no and treat you like a number and show you the door. We're going to say not yet, but here's how. You need a plan. You need a friend in the mortgage business. And that's me. Let my family help your family at savewithconrad.com. It's no cost, no obligation. And if we can't save you some cash, we won't waste your time. Get a quick quote. You'll be glad you did. SaveWithConrad.com.
NMLS number 2129, Equal Housing Lender.
SaveWithConrad.com.
Are about to be spoken on the Extreme Life of Matt Hardy, which is, of course, presented to you by the ad-free shows Podcast Heat and Wrestling According to Alba Networks. I'm John Alba. That is the broken one, the woken one, the spoken one, and the one dealing with some headphone problems himself, Mr. Matt Hardy. What's going on, man?
Nothing much. It's a beautiful day here in Cameron, North Carolina at the Hardy compound. It's a great day to be alive.
It is, as we record this, Halloween.
It is Halloween, yes. Happy Halloween, everyone. Everyone have a safe Halloween and enjoy All Hallows Eve.
This is bigger than any other holiday for your wife, I'd have to imagine.
It's a big deal. Halloween and Christmas are, I would say, are her big 2, no doubt. That's her WrestleMania and SummerSlam. She definitely did it big. She always does it big, and she has the kids in the Halloween spirit. They're really in the mood. And actually tonight, as we record this, we're actually going to do a signing, and we're doing a haunted hayride and a haunted house with, I think, the 3 oldest, with all the boys are going.
Very nice. Very nice. Love to hear. What were the costumes this year? I know you guys dressed up a couple weeks ago, I think.
Yeah, we did. Initially, there was a group vote from the children, and they all wanted to be the Minions. And then that changed, and they said Five Nights at Freddy's. But I knew there was such a Five Nights at Freddy's craze, we should have done that earlier on. And now they're wishing we would have done Five Nights at Freddy's, but you can't get costumes like immediately. So we're going to go tonight, I think. We're going to go do a little trick-or-treating deal. We're going to do the Minions, and then the Five Nights at Freddy's thing isn't going to happen, but we're going to be the Minions tonight.
You enjoy dressing up with the kids?
It's fun, especially for trick-or-treating. Just it's very fun to see those guys like be happy, be excited. It's like something they look forward to every single year. And, just I think a very important part about being a parent is going all in and like checking your ego at the door and just doing what you need to do to give your kids the best experience possible.
It's like sometimes when you're a heel, you just got to eat the comeuppance. When you're a parent doing trick-or-treating, you got to go in, wear that costume, no matter how silly it may be.
Yeah.
And they're going to remember that for years to come. So,
well, that's what it is too, man. Like, honestly, they talk about your kids all the time. It's not necessarily like what you give them or how much money you spend on them or whatever you do for them, they're going to remember how they felt with the way you treated them in whatever experience it is. If you were a good dad that like made them happy, if you, put happiness in their heart, if you put smiles on their faces, that is the things that they're going to hold the most dear to their heart. And that's going to be their strongest memory. So that's very important to me.
There you go. Well, I'm excited to see your costume. Sure, you guys will have a ton of fun with it. We got so much to cover on this edition of the Extreme Life of Matt Hardy. We're going to be watching your tag team title win from Bound for Glory as the Hardys reclaimed the gold. I have not seen the match yet. And so for the first time, I'm going to watch one of your matches without having seen them with you. And I'm excited to dive into that. But it was a very eventful week. And we'll obviously talk about how you guys felt about winning the titles. But let's start first and foremost. The day after you guys won the title, you had a match with ABC, and Chris Bey suffered a pretty serious injury. What can you share with us about what happened? Any updates you may have on Chris, and how are you feeling, man? I know it's pretty difficult to experience something like that.
It was a very difficult experience, and without going into too much detail or not getting into people's personal business, I mean, it was a very freak accident, and it happened the night after, and it just happened in a way. It was something very standard. There was nothing crazy. There was nothing outlandish or outrageous. There was no like a high level of risk involved in what was going on. It was just a very simple thing. And it's once again a very scary and stark reminder about how dangerous it is, what we do, pro wrestling just in general. And there was a point where Chris was just laying there. Once we understood he was in that condition, the match came to an end, and we tried our best to take care of him. He ended up having some emergency surgery that night, and it ended up being productive. People think it came out well. He's on the path to recovering, but it's gonna be a slow process, and we're gonna take our time. And I would love for everyone to please keep Chris Bey, who is just an amazing guy, just such a positive, optimistic, just kind human being. And one of the quality of optimism that he has reminds me of myself in many, many ways. And I felt very fortunate last night. I got to speak to him. His partner, Austin, Ace Austin, obviously has been with him out there the whole while. And like we've been staying in contact every single day, and I've been getting updates. I actually got to speak with Chris last night. We FaceTime for a few minutes. And so I was doing better. He's improving slowly but surely. And he has an amazing attitude, and he has the attitude you need to recover from an injury like this. So send all your thoughts and prayers. If you're a big prayer, put a prayer out for Chris, and just keep him in your thoughts. And also there's been people that have been donating and giving him money just for his life in the weeks or months or whatever, however long it takes him to recuperate for this, so that he doesn't have to worry about where his income comes from. Yes, TNA is taking care of the expenses, but it's just to make sure that he is safe and he focuses on himself. And like the wrestling community has been so selfless and so great about it. It's been amazing.
It really has been amazing. So go check out that GoFundMe if you can. Chris, by all accounts, only brief interactions, but super, super kind. And I think Frankie Kazarian had mentioned on social media that this TNA locker room that he's a part of and that you're a part of is one of the best locker rooms he's ever been in terms of camaraderie and kindness and just people being good to one another. And he mentioned that Chris was one of the best in that locker room.
He's correct. I mean, it's just a tremendous locker room. It's a tremendous environment. Obviously, TNA, we did over 3,100 people at Bound for Glory, so that they're doing something right. Something is happening there, and it's exciting. And it's one of those things where everyone right now on the roster is super positive, is super optimistic about the future, and everybody's just wanting to see the company grow. And that's what everybody's working hard for the greater good.
Yeah. Are you feeling all right after that? I mean, it's a scary thing to see up close in person, and it really it encompasses the danger of the art, right? Like you weren't even doing some crazy death-defying stunt. This was a standard bump for all intents and purposes, and it could happen to anyone who steps in a ring.
I mean, one of the things that I so famously say is like the human body isn't meant to bump on wooden steel multiple times, night after night after night after night, and that's once again the insanity of what we do. I mean, it's an art form. We're definitely athletes. We love to entertain, but it is also, it comes with a high amount of risk, and it's a very stark and scary reminder about how dangerous what we do is, because it could be the simplest thing that could lead to something catastrophic, So pro wrestling is very, very dangerous. And I appreciate all the good people out there that have the respect towards all of us for putting our health and well-being on the line to entertain you.
Certainly sending our best out to Chris and a full recovery, no matter how long it may take. First and foremost, being
Yes.
healthy is most paramount, and we're sending our best to him and everyone else affected by that.
I almost want to share one other little thing.
Please.
Like, we were all so happy at the end of the Full Metal Mayhem match, and I know for Chris and Austin, it was like a dream come true. They were in the main event of TNA's biggest pay-per-view. They were in there with the Hardys. The System, they were awesome in their role. That next night, like we've become much closer, right? As we've been working very closely together these last few weeks. When he was in there, and it was a scary moment for all of us. And I'll never forget, he said, Jeff, this is while they're waiting on the backboard to carry him out. He said, Jeff, you remember when you did the thing with Randy, the big swanton? He said, wouldn't that be cool if I could raise my arm up like you did on the way out? Wouldn't that be cool? And he giggled a little bit. And Jeff said, oh my God. He said, man, there's healing in humor. He said, man, keep that attitude. And that was one of the sweetest moments, man, because we were all worried about him. And all of us were just like, oh my God, like this poor guy, we want him to be okay. And he was willing and able to like make that joke and have some humor in that moment. And that went a long ways, and it popped to all of us. And I think his mentality and his optimism is just off the chart. And I think that's gonna help him very, very much.
Wow, that's a hell of a story. Thanks for sharing that. And again, I think that's kind of a microcosm of who he is. So again, all the best to Chris Bey on his recovery. I highly encourage you to check out his GoFundMe page. I'll throw it in the link for the podcast if anyone wants to go click to that, whether it's on YouTube or wherever you get your podcast. You'll be able to find the link to the GoFundMe. Really cool to see so many people coming out of the woodworks and donating to that. So shout out to the community. I will say the wrestling community, that's got a lot of flaws, but very often when someone is in need, everyone will come together and really bond. And that is one of the things that makes the community very special, in my opinion.
Indeed.
Let's talk about people who you are very close with, and that is, of course, Private Party, the new AEW Tag Team Champions. Wow, Matt, long journey. The stipulations were if they lost their match against the Young Bucks, they'd have to split up. They teased some dissension with Stokely Hathaway, Stankley poking the bear just a little bit. But the Young Bucks do the honors, and they put over Private Party huge, and they even show them a little respect on the way out. What do you think of Private Party's Tag Team Championship win and the performance by both of those teams?
First and foremost, I read about it. You actually texted me first. You said, they won, which was great, and I was pretty positive they were going to win from speaking to them. And, it's in pro wrestling, though, it is never official until it actually happens and it goes down in real time. So that was great. I know I made a quick post about them, and I even acknowledged how cool it was that we had just won the TNA World Tag titles and then won the AEW World Tag titles. Very, very cool. All of Hardy Party is strapped up now with a little bit of gold on the shoulder, which is cool. I went and watched the match back and went out of my way. After I got all the kids to bed, I watched the match back and went straight to that point. I love the way that the Bucks came in, kind of like as all hell was breaking loose, and Private Party came down to help out with John Moxley and the BCC and the whole deal. It was all chaos, and they came down. Their demeanor was perfect right from the jump. They got in there and started going back and forth. And Isaiah, especially in the beginning when he pushed Nick Jackson a couple times and like was super aggressive and like all up on top of him and looked very real, very realistic. And it reminded me of that. Are you truly making?
We lost your camera there for a second.
Oh,
that's okay.
Well, hold up. Let me see here.
We'll take a pause here. Oh, there we go.
Now we should be back. I have no idea why that would have happened.
Okay, no problem. Continue.
Okay. So the demeanor of the Young Bucks when they were coming to the ring, I thought it was fabulous. Is they're just like they're coming down, kind of this chicken shit hills, you know, like we don't want to come out there where they're fighting, but as soon as we see BCC is being cleared, we'll come down and we'll take advantage of Private Party because now they're out here and they're not necessarily ready for the match. That was great. The pacing in the beginning was very good, and the time that really stood out to me when they like turned it up a gear is when Isaiah shoved Nick Jackson, and then he like shoved him again. It was up in his face and like just kept closing the distance. Like there was no fear, and he looked so serious and so real and so physical. Like he was like nothing was going to stop us, me and Mark Quinn, from whipping your guys' ass tonight. Then they went to the whole deal. I love the deal where the Bucks grabbed the belt, and then you know, it was taken away from them, and then Isaiah ended up accidentally hit with the title. He started bleeding. I thought that was very great for the drama in this moment. And they really did a good job of like putting sympathy on Quinn, who was in the ring. Is Isaiah going to be able to come back from this? Is he going to be able to help out or make a save? Is he done for the match? And they did a great job in building that. Eventually, Isaiah does come in. He kicks ass. There's a great moment where they drag Quinn way up to the top of the ramp. And I love that where Okada came out and he gave him a tombstone power driver, and they're hitting finishes. I mean, they hit like their main finish, you know, the EVP trigger. And then Isaiah kicks out. He kicks out a big move, big move, big move. He kicks out, and you think it's over because his partner's away and he's definitely selling. And big props to the video people, whoever was in the camera or whoever's in the truck calling the cameras and the shots. Whenever they did that deal where they hit the spot on Isaiah and Quinn came diving in through the ropes. It was from a wide view, so you couldn't see.
Did you realize what move it was that they hit him with there? They hit him. They hit him with the one-winged angel, Kenny Omega's finisher.
Yeah. No. Yeah, I do know that because they did his. They also did the pull him into it, the trigger, and they did the V trigger and the one-winged angel, and then like the way Quinn just came out of the blue, flying through and broke it up through the ups. That was a fantastic shot and fantastic for emotion. So yeah, man, the Bucks went above and beyond. They went out of their way to make those guys, you know, and they were selfless in letting them kick out of their things. They were selfless in trying to make these guys as great as they possibly could, especially because they're coming off a long, really good, dominant reign. And kudos to everybody, man. It was a win for everyone. The Bucks look great in that, and I think we see now there's an eventual Bucks babyface return coming, you know, to fight off the BCC. But at the end of the day, Private Party hung in there. They persevered. They were resilient, and they stayed in the mix. And that's what it's all about in pro wrestling. You make the most out of every opportunity that you have, and you hope you get rewarded eventually. And I'm glad that they got rewarded. So good call on rewarding them.
I was saying beforehand, this was the time. Oh, we got a Barty Hardy showing.
Hi, Barty.
I was saying before that this was the time to go all in on Private Party, right? Like this, and we talk about it all the time, and we can talk about it later when we talk about Bound for Glory with Joe Hendry and everything, but sometimes you get one chance, and if that chance comes and you miss it, then it's pretty hard to get someone back. It's hard to get the audience back. And Private Party has kind of been in purgatory for so long.
Yes.
Everyone remembers the second episode of Dynamite where the Bucks put them over big and everyone's like, oh my God, they're going to be future tag team champions. Yet 5 years later, here we were. They had this opportunity to do it on television where the Bucks hadn't really done a whole lot with those titles lately. To me, I saw no upside to keeping it on them. Go ahead and I said, try to make someone. Make Private Party into a team that everyone sees as super legitimate. And they did just that, man. You know what happens when someone kicks out of all those finishers? You're telling the audience that those guys are top guys. And they told the audience that Private Party are top guys on this episode of Dynamite. For him to kick out of their own finisher, Gin and Juice, to kick out of the EVP trigger, to kick out of Kenny Omega's moves, the one-winged angel, which has never been kicked out of, essentially. Quinn breaks it up. This was so tremendously laid together. And as you said, man, when the Bucks really want to go out there and make someone, they're capable of doing that in an emphatic way. And I thought it was just excellent business. And I heard so many people saying before this match, I don't think Private Party's really over, to the point where people are clamoring to see them win the title. Did you see that reaction from those
the finish?
fans, man?
The finish was phenomenal. I mean, the finish validated that it was the right call because everyone in that venue went crazy. It was like, we want these guys to win, we want these guys to succeed, but we're not sure if they're going to give that to them. We're not sure if they're going to reward them with that opportunity. And when they were rewarded, it was a very, very special moment, and the building was just enthusiastic and electric.
Absolutely awesome stuff. Really, really, really happy for both of them because not only are they so important to you, and we've featured them on this podcast many times, but they are two of the good ones. They are two great human beings. And you talk about adversity, man. All the adversity that Mark Quinn has had to overcome with his injury history and Zay having to figure out his own role and find his spot. This is a really great story, isn't it?
It is. And I mean, even more than just professionally, I take a very personal interest in them because I feel like I was the guy that kind of helped teach them and instruct them and did what I could to help them get to the highest level and get ready to be a team in the position to be the champions and carry the division. And it's great. A lot of people recognize that. Some people don't. They think I'm in control of the booking of what I was doing when we were together, which obviously I wasn't. But it's something that makes me very proud because there's a very similar resemblance to our bond with Michael Hayes, how he was kind of our wrestling daddy at that time. Like, I was their wrestling pops, and that's kind of our relationship. So it was great. And I was able to text those guys last night and give them, a celebratory text about how proud and how happy I am for them. And same things with the Bucks too. I told them I'm also so proud and happy for them because they really made a team and they went out of their way to do the right thing to prove how selfless they could be as a top tag team.
You go get a bacon, egg, and cheese with Zay now?
Sure. Yeah, I'll do that anytime. I'll go get a chopped cheese. I'm not afraid.
I'm terrified of it, but that's fine. You don't have to be. We were talking before about AEW before we got on air, and Chris Jericho is obviously someone who is very, very divisive right now with AEW audiences. I'm someone who appreciates all of Chris's contributions to wrestling, but I recognize that maybe there's been a threshold that's been hit with what he's doing in AEW right now as well. You had some thoughts. So what do you have to say to all the discourse about Chris Jericho?
Yeah. First and foremost, I understand being an older guy around in wrestling, someone who is looked at as like a legacy talent, someone who's looked at as a living legend, more or less. Chris and I fall in the same categories a lot. And there were a lot of people at AEW that thought Jeff and I should not be there. We shouldn't be featured. It was pretty brutal. And it's so funny that we came to TNA and like numbers across the board are up. And it's not just myself and Jeff, but I mean, we definitely help. We help with that issue. They're doing these great houses. They're selling more tickets than they have in over a decade. It's a very positive thing. And it's nice that we're being utilized in the correct way. And looking back at it, I watched the ladder match that he had with Mark Briscoe, and I thought Jericho was utilized perfect. I mean, you put Jericho as the Ring of Honor champion, and does Ring of Honor have any kind of TV deal coming up? Are you privy to any of this, John? Do you know?
No, I don't believe they have any TV deal coming up.
But if you're trying to build Ring of Honor, even if it is on, the Ring of Honor app or their site, he's a great guy to be the champion and to feature him. Like that match where he wrestled Mark Briscoe, it elevated Mark Briscoe, in my opinion, watching it. And the finish, he was just such a chicken shit heel, the way Big Bill put him on his shoulders and carried him up the ladder, which was a great finish. I think the people who say Chris Jericho should not be on TV at this stage of the game, I just think they're absolutely wrong. I think he has a benefit. I think he adds a lot to pro wrestling. And I would love to hear your perspective about why guys are so hateful towards Chris Jericho. The diehards, the sickos.
Okay, so my thought on this is that maybe part of that stems from overexposure, if that makes sense. I think you and I have both recognized in the past that sometimes in wrestling, an act in its presented form can overstay its welcome. And then you have to go reinvent. I mean, you've seen this firsthand. You've been involved with creative processes like that. where stuff just kind of seems to stick around a little too long before going back to the drawing board. And I think what's frustrating for a lot of wrestling fans is that Chris Jericho kind of invented the playbook on reinvention, right? Like that was his thing, that no one other than maybe yourself, quite frankly, has reinvented as many times in pro wrestling as Chris Jericho has.
He's a trailblazer, no doubt.
And one of the reasons is because he has historically had his finger on the pulse of how fans are feeling towards something. He's been very, very good at that over the course of his career. And I think in the last couple of years in AEW, there's been this sentiment, and I'm not going to sit here and say whether I agree entirely with it because I see both sides of it. There's been a sentiment that he will push too far with one presentation, or all of the storylines that he does are done in a way to keep him involved without doing much benefit to the people involved. Because that was the whole thing with the Inner Circle, right? The Inner Circle, the idea was we're going to take all these people and they're going to benefit from being with Chris Jericho at the beginning of AEW. And I think that was pretty successful when all things were considered. But look at most of the groups that have come since then and the iterations that have come since then and the people that Jericho has worked with. For example, he worked with Hook for pretty much the entirety of this year, right? Is Hook in a better position right now than he was before working with Chris Jericho?
Well, I don't know that.
And I'm not blaming Chris all for that. That's all. There's
Sure.
booking that comes with that too.
You know where I was getting ready to go.
Yeah.
I mean, because it's one of those things. I mean, Chris is a household name. Chris Jericho is a household name that people know, and casual fans that just tune in for wrestling that don't really give a shit about what's going on behind the scenes. They just want to be entertained. And Chris Jericho is somebody they know. So if Chris Jericho is doing a thing with Hook and they're invested and they are a fan of Chris Jericho, I would imagine it's good exposure for Hook when it comes to that. As far as the way everything went down in their program, obviously, if there's not continuity, if sometimes things don't follow up or it's not necessarily logical, like once again, at the end of the day, that's not all Chris. Chris has some input into things, but at the end of the day, you have to think about who is booking things in the greager.
No, and I see that side of it too. You know, I do. I mean, I have no doubt that Chris is definitely, he has influence without a doubt, but I do understand that there are other factors at play too with these things. And I think one of the other elements, whether it was fair or not, there was the whole discourse, the out of the ring stuff that blew up earlier this year. And I think when that happened, there was maybe a little fatigue. And what Jericho historically has always been really good at is stepping away, going away for a little bit, and then coming back when the crowd's ready to get more of him. And he kind of decided to plow through that, which he's entitled to do. He's allowed to do that. But I think there might have been a bit of an overexposure issue with that. And that gave some crowd fatigue when that happened. And I don't think that's just a Chris Jericho problem. I think that happens a lot in wrestling. And it's one of the issues of 52 weeks a year programming, where you're constantly trying to have people present, have people on the program. I think one of the best things that Chris could do, and it would benefit all parties, in my opinion, would be to go away for 4 to 6 months, come back with a refresh and presentation, and I think the crowd would be ready for him to be back.
Okay, yeah. I mean, I get your point. I see where you're coming from, but I think Chris Jericho is just such a big name and such a big deal, and has such a huge fan base and people who are aware of who he is. I think he is extremely beneficial to AEW programming and Ring of Honor programming. And I think Tony Khan realizes that, and he has seen the value in Chris Jericho when it comes to ticket sales or whatever else it may be. And I think that's why he understands to keep him around. Also, I feel like there's probably a lot of loyalty from Tony Khan to Chris Jericho, because he is one of the guys, I think in many ways, he was like a Hulk Hogan in the beginning, because he helped put AEW on the map.
He is the foundation of AEW. AEW could not have been built without Chris Jericho being one of the first initial names there. So definitely agree with that. I think some of the other frustrations, Matt, come with the idea that Ring of Honor takes up so much TV time on AEW. And that is frustrating for a lot of AEW fans. That is separate of Chris Jericho.
I can understand that. I mean, and I get that. And that's once again that's one of the issues with owning those two brands and trying to keep both brands relevant. And I understand why they do that. I mean, that makes sense. But also too, it would just be nice if there was a landing place where Ring of Honor could feel like a separate product. That way, if they did cross over, it would seem like such a bigger deal, right? If you see Ring of Honor on AEW programming or Ring of Honor Superstars wrestling in AEW Superstar, whatever it may be. But I think Chris Jericho is one of those guys. If he left AEW and Ring of Honor, if he wasn't there, I think it would be a big blow to them. I think it would damage them in the big scheme of things. I think he is a very, very important major cog in this system. And I think Tony Khan realizes that. That's why he tries to keep him in something, because he's a guy that is a big deal and he's a big star and he still will be. And he can still go out and he can have great matches. He doesn't do what some 25-year-old's going to do. Like I know the sickos, when they just they focus on the high work rate and this is all they want, high work rate. Jericho can still go out and he can create great moments. And in that ladder match, there were some great moments in it. And it was a match, I think, in Chris Jericho winning, that Mark Briscoe lost nothing. And I think he gained, if anything.
Yeah, again, I see both sides of the discourse, and I definitely share an appreciation with you for what Chris has contributed. I really do feel, from a fatigue standpoint, audiences, this isn't just wrestling, audiences get fatigued with characters in all forms of programming. And when you take a character back for a bit and make the crowd want to see them again, that's usually when it works out best for both sides. Bray Wyatt was one of those guys. Bray got overexposed like crazy in WWE. And then when he went away and all of a sudden he's back as the Fiend, everyone's going nuts because they want to see him, right?
Sure. No, I mean, you're right. The overexposure is a thing too.
So that's what it comes down to for me. What do you think of Bobby Lashley showing up?
This is going to be interesting. I mean, I think there can definitely be some equity in MVP, Bobby Lashley, and Shelton Benjamin together. I think those three could be a force, and I think they could be a very important part of AEW television. I think they could be like a cornerstone of a cornerstone, a building block of helping them build towards the future.
Clearly going to be a main event program here with Bobby Lashley and Swerve Strickland. I thought the presentation was awesome, where it was just like, he'll make the call, and the camera gets MVP making the call, and then out comes Bobby Lashley. I thought that was pretty cool and fed into the whole Hurt Business style presentation of that team. So excited to see what he can bring to the table there. I do want to bring
they're all three guys that I've worked with a lot in the past, and I like them all a lot. So I'm happy for everybody.
We know you've worked with MVP quite a bit. I'll see if he's got the sports entertainment match in store for Bobby Lashley, or if they're going to go have the work rate match. We'll see.
Yeah, let's see.
I do want to bring up one more thing. This was really interesting that happened this week. WWE announced the WWE ID program, the WWE Independent Development, which is a really unique situation. So I'm going to read from the press release here. Under the program, WWE will provide prominent independent wrestling schools with the WWE ID official designation, with the goal of providing new trainees and existing talent at these select institutions with enhanced developmental opportunities. They're Booker T's Reality of Wrestling, Cody Rhodes' Nightmare Factory, Seth Rollins' Black and Brave Academy, Elite Pro Wrestling Training Center in New Hampshire, Knox Pro Academy in Los Angeles. Those are the ones that are starting as them. Additionally, WWE will identify top independent wrestling prospects with an official WWID prospect designation and support their developmental journey by providing financial opportunity and assisting with training, mentorship, and development, including access to world-class facilities, best-in-class ring training, athletic trainers, and more. It's a really interesting program, Matt. It's had a divisive response from some people in the wrestling community, but there's a lot of people in wrestling who have come out and supported it. On the surface level, what do you think about it?
It sounds interesting. I mean, it sounds like a smart move by WWE to look for future prospects, guys that start breaking out on the independent scene to be able to kind of reach out and kind of get them to be invested in your promotion first and foremost. So yeah, I'm very curious. So how does this work whenever you are labeled as a WWE ID performer?
So it sounds like it's almost like they're putting. I'm going to use a sports analogy for this. It's
Okay.
almost like an NHL team where they'll draft someone while they're in college and they'll still play in college, or they may play juniors, but the WWE almost has like a rights to them sort of thing, it sounds like. And they're going to provide them a stipend to improve on themselves, to train in specific places, to work specific places. But from what it sounds like, according to Brandon Thurston, the talents still have full reign to work wherever they want to work without any booking being influenced by them being a WWE ID prospect. So on the surface, it sounds like a really interesting idea. My one concern that I've seen from a lot of people, and I understand where some of it stems from, I think, Matt, one of the best parts about the indies is the diversity of styles that you see on the indies.
Yeah.
And you can get a few performers who have the sports entertainment style of working, and then you get a few that have the Lucha Underground style of working, or the AEW style of working, or the Stardom style. And it makes for this great buffet of things that you see when you go to an indie show. And I feel like if so many independent wrestlers romanticize the idea of being tagged with one of these designations, it might lead to maybe the styles becoming a little vanilla, if that makes sense. That's one of the common complaints I see.
It might water down the melting pot, as known as the indies, right?
Sure.
Where they try and do a little more WWE style to work on their goal of getting there. I get what you're saying. I'm very curious. I like it. I mean, I'm interested by it. It seems like it would make people very motivated to be a part of this, obviously. But it's just very interesting how they are going to fund it. It's funny because if they are paying for something and they're going to be funding you in some way, shape, or form, it seems like they would want to have like a priority on you as well, as far as like kind of if you do become hot and you sign somewhere, they want you to go there first. So I'm really interested to see how this all pans out.
I think that is truthfully more than anything what it is. It's kind of trying to prevent talent from being snagged up by some of the other major companies.
I mean, 100%. That's what it is.
But there is upside. I mean, getting financial incentivization to work and be supported, that's great. That's good. That's good for everyone. It's almost similar to when you were on developmental deals, you'd go work for different independent promotions, since there wasn't really a true performance center at the time.
Yeah, I mean, we would do that. You know, our developmental deal was when we worked for WWE, it was $300 a week, and then we would get $300 per appearance, and that is if we do something on WWE TV. And as long as we were clear with them, we could do independent dates. And obviously, because we were like WWE performers, that helped us get a little bit more when it came to a payday. And they were cool with it. They encouraged that because they wanted you to work, especially if you wasn't on the road, you wasn't doing house shows. You know, they wanted you to stay experienced. They wanted you to stay sharp. They wanted you to stay in ring shape. And it was a fun time. It was a fun deal.
Certainly was a lot of fun to watch. I would love to watch one of those old developmental matches on this podcast one time to see what you guys were doing back then.
Yeah,
so,
it'd be nice to see if we can dig one up. I'm sure we can. I'm sure we can dig something up somewhere.
Now with the WWE Vault too, man, what they're putting out there, it's nuts. It's crazy to see.
WWE Vault put out that Matt Hardy versus Jason Arndt match.
Yes, we're calling for it. Let's make that campaign happen. I know we have spent a lot of time talking about miscellaneous stuff here. We're going to watch the match in just a second, and we're going to get to the Matt fact in just a second. I do want to say one last thing. Not to influence anyone's opinions, but Matt, this is October 31st. We tape this next week in the United States is election day. Regardless of who you support, what your beliefs are, both Matt and I are big believers in getting your vote out there and making sure that you utilize one of the greatest constitutional protections in our country, and that is to vote.
Yes.
Is there anything you want to say about that?
No, vote. I would like to have as much of America as possible go out and vote. I want you to go vote. I feel like that is your duty as an American citizen. Go out and vote.
Civic duties. I was able to early vote this week. It took me about a minute. It was fantastic. So definitely recommend getting on that if you haven't. Wherever you may live is going to be great. And join us, of course, WrestleCade, a night outcade with the Hardys, WrestleCade.com. It's an Extreme Life of Matt Hardy podcast, followed by a Brother Nero live concert. We've been doing these shows. It's been super, super fun over the course of the past year or so that we've been doing these. Brother Nero gets up there. He rocks it. Matt Hardy tells all these great stories. This is going down at WrestleCade on Saturday, November 30th, after the WrestleCade show. Going to be a lot of fun, Matt.
Yes, very exciting. WrestleCade is one of my favorite events of the year, and for the last 2 years we've done podcasts, and this is our third year doing it. And I can't tell each and every one of you how much fun these events are, and this is very cool. These nights I've been doing an evening with the Hardys, a night outcade with the Hardys. They've all been great. They've all been home runs. So come out and see Matt Hardy, see a live Extreme Life of Matt Hardy, and see Jeff perform. It is going to be a fun evening for everyone involved.
Get your tickets right now, WrestleCade.com. Gonna be a blast. 2 events for the price of 1. We would love to see you there. Okay, Matt Hardy, we are going to watch back your Bound for Glory Full Metal Mayhem match. But before we can, you know what I got to ask? Please hit us with that Matt fact.
Matt fact. Matt is a 15-time World Tag Team Champion.
That's what's up. You got that belt? Can we see that belt?
Yeah, I brought it because I knew everyone would want to see it.
Hell yeah. Look at that. How do you feel about this one?
It's a pretty nice title. Yeah, it is nice. See if we can get a good shot of it there in the camera. Maybe they'll focus. Maybe they won't.
There you go.
Yeah, it's a nice little title. One of the coolest things for me is when I got home with this thing, the kids said, "Oh my God, can we see the championship? Can we see the championship?" And they've been walking around with it all week, which has been so great. They'll like put it on their shoulder and they'll just walk around it like they're the champion. Even Evie, she's so heavy. It's so heavy.
She's already cut from the cloth of her mother, that's for sure.
No doubt.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, they always talk about the Dudleys being the most decorated tag team of all time, but I think the Hardys are making a push here.
There you have it. We've been major world tag team champions in 4 different decades now, which is a really cool piece of trivia and also a very nice fact for your resume.
So before we watch the match, anything else you want to say about the Bound for Glory show? Joe Hendry did come up short, which I know a lot of fans were really disappointed to see. We talked a little bit about on the podcast. Could be the moment, but it wasn't the moment for him. How'd you feel about all that?
I specifically was there. I was in Gorilla, and I heard the response to the way the match ended, and I was happy that the crowd didn't boo anywhere near as much as I expected. They were still cheered, and they were okay with the finish. And I get that they had Frankie be the referee to try and inject a heel in to get a little bit of chaos in there, because you're kind of playing it straight with 2 baby faces with Nick Nemeth and Joe Hendry. But I'm pretty excited where this is going to go. I have a rough idea, and I can't say this. I don't think it's going to take Joe Hendry as long as it took Private Party to capture the title.
Not.
But we're gonna get there, and Joe is just such a stand-up quality dude. His attitude, mentality is just it. He's amazing. He's really an amazing human being, and someone I feel honored that I've had the opportunity to meet. He's going to be good. I feel very confident about it, and I like what is on the horizon for him and TNA, and for us, for our company.
Okay. Masha Slamovich winning the women's championship. By the way, the Knockouts championship from Jordan Grace, which I thought is awesome, and the crowd was super up for that. Jordan Grace going on over to NXT to work for them right now. Real good stuff from Masha. You like Masha?
Yeah. Super friendly, very talented. She's very explosive for a female. I haven't got to see their match back, but I would imagine it was great.
I think she's fantastic. I think she's explosive for anyone, and has the ability to just go out there and look like a legitimate ass kicker. And she's great. So, and Jordan Grace, we know, is fantastic. So, okay, Matt Hardy, are you ready to go out there and watch this back? Have you watched the match back yet? I should ask.
I am ready. I haven't seen the whole thing. I actually played it for Jeff when we were driving back to the hotel. It was about whenever we finished our meet and greet that night. It was 2 a.m. before we left the building. As we were going back, we watched it back on the TNA Plus app, or Jeff mainly watched it back, and I was kind of like browsing over some of it. So no, I haven't technically watched it all back and with a close eye on it.
Okay. Well, I know that we're gonna look real good watching this back.
Yes,
Because I see we're actually wearing the same thing right now.
we are.
It's a rarity that we're wearing the same thing here, but we
And
are.
guys, we didn't coordinate at all. We didn't speak in advance, and we didn't decide to
We
wear
did
this.
not coordinate it, but it was obvious to both of us because I don't know about you, like you and I both have different arm mass. I don't know if anyone has realized this before. Matt,
Yours
can you give us a
yours are much bigger.
Yeah, mine might be thicker. They're not bigger. But could you give us a little 50-year-old Matt Hardy flex as you drink that water there? Let's see what the gun show's got. Look at that. Look at that. It's impressive. It's impressive. The shirt collar, it wraps around it. Mine, it wraps around it as well, and that's because both Matt Hardy and I are sporting True Classic tees. And we absolutely love these because I've been struggling for years, Matt, to find a t-shirt or to find any clothing that actually fits around all the places it's supposed to fit around perfectly. Because sometimes you might have a little bit of a bigger gut, but smaller arms, or vice versa. Or sometimes your arms are just so big that it pulls up your shirt. Well, True Classic eliminates all of those problems. These are premium products at an affordable price. They're shirts that define your best features with a perfect fit, snug in the arms and chest with just the right amount of room in the midsections. Matt, what do you like most about your True Classic tee that you're sporting here today?
Not gonna lie, it's that they make my pecs, my chest, and my buys and my tries pop out, and it's a great thing. I do it. It fits very well. It fits very snug, and I feel fresh whenever I'm wearing my True Classic.
I've been hearing about True Classics for like years, and I was like, I'm always going to order one. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. And the holidays rolled around, and we had a conversation with them, and they're like, we want to get on board with the Extreme Life of Matt Hardy, and I don't blame them for wanting to do that. This podcast rules. And we figured with the holidays coming up, this is the perfect time to make sure that you are mixing and matching clothing that helps you work with your lifestyle. And they have a 100% perfect fit guarantee and easy returns. They got best-selling t-shirts, hoodies, jeans, and more in 3, 6, and 9 packs. And they're trusted by more than 4 million customers with over 200,000 reviews to show that this is a fantastic product. True Classics, ultra comfortable, perfect fitting essentials make for the perfect gift for all of the men in your life. Maybe I got to ask Mama with the holidays coming up here. Maybe you could get some more there, Matt Hardy.
It sounds like a wonderful Christmas gift.
So if you're ready to upgrade your closet, shop now and unlock big savings during their huge holiday sale. Just go to our exclusive link over at trueclassic.com/Hardy and you can save big. That's trueclassic.com/HARDY. Please support our show and tell them that the Extreme Life of Matt Hardy sent you. End the year with holiday cheer thanks to True Classic. All right, Matt, I'm excited to watch this. You ready to go here?
Let's do it.
All right. In 3, 2, 1. We got all the crew in the ring here, and we are off to a quick start. They're going to take out the system. Just wanted to get the heel some heat here, I assume.
Well, if you watched Impact that happened on that Thursday night, they left us all laying. It was a very brutal beatdown. They hit us with the titles, and they tried to take everybody out before the match. So we obviously had a vested shared interest in destroying those guys after what they did to us.
Poetry in motion. You know about that?
We call this the poetry train. You know, when ABC joins up with us, and we all hit our stuff.
Was ABC marking out, getting to do some Hardy Boys stuff here?
Yeah, I think it's very exciting for them.
There you go.
Typically is. That's just that's the stage we're in right now.
To be fair, Brian Myers had it coming.
Oh, it couldn't have happened to a better guy. This crowd too, like we didn't know how they were going to be. You know, they saw a lot of really cool stuff, but man, they were off the charts for this match. They were so great.
Big dive.
Chris Bey bouncing everybody down there. The ladders, and have you seen this? Like how the different chairs and the ladders and the canvas,
Yeah.
and all the tables. The tables made these huge collages. There were two different things. Like Jeff spent so much time painting those things.
It looks amazing. It
Yeah, it
looks
does.
absolutely amazing.
One of the funniest things, which no one would know about unless I give them this detail, this insight. When we're in the ring wrestling, it was almost that paint after it had dried like that. Jeff had to paint it over so many times because it was that canvas and it soaked in, and he just wanted to look really pop whenever it looked real good when it was sitting on the on TV on the ring. It was so sandpapery. And it was like there was like sandpaper particles, little pieces of paint that was all on our clothes and all on our hair and all over us, and it was very itchy.
Oh, sawdust like.
Oh, I
Now
see.
we're going to the outside here. Little up close interaction. This is why you pay to be there live. Matt Hardy doing the work over on Brian Myers here. I was saying this is why you pay to be here live, right? See this all up close in person.
Yeah, these people had a front row seat to the first real carnage in this match.
How'd you feel about the crowd?
The crowd was off the charts. The crowd was so incredible. They were so lively throughout the whole match, and much like we were talking about with the private party match, they all came up and there was like genuine excitement whenever we won the title. So yeah, they were amazing. Here we go. Look at this big moment.
Ace Austin at the top. Ooh.
Right from the jump. So I think you can see here the story we're telling is like the system had already beat the shit out of both teams. They had left his land, and we wanted to like eliminate them right from the jump. And we wanted to come down between the two of us and may the best man win. And that's kind of the agreement we had going into this.
It's a very easy story to digest.
Yeah.
I'm into that. And that's different than a lot of the TLC matches you've done in the past too.
Yeah, it was. I mean, because in this one too, there was no mixing it. I mean, the system, Eddie and Brian Myers, they were very definitive heels, real piece of shit heels. And now it's time to take care of the other member of the system.
The other piece of trash.
The other piece of trash.
Was Jeff stoked to get all this crazy graffiti art and art on this stuff?
Yeah, I mean, he was so into it, and he worked so hard on it. I mean, it took him to paint that canvas. It took 5 days, I think, with doing painting the whole image and having to do redos and repaints just to make sure it was the right way. So he spent a ton of time doing that at home. He hung it up on a tobacco barn, and he's been, if anybody wants to see it, he's been posting it on his Instagram every single day, like day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4.
All right, Matt Hardy, going to throw back the clock here.
Here we go.
Throw the guns up. This is what I did at the Monster Factory. Exactly this.
It's the exact same thing. It was the exact same thing.
Nice and flush.
If you put them side by side, nobody'd even know the difference.
How'd that feel?
That was all right. That was okay. I actually was a lot less sore at the next morning after this match, especially because I was on my feet for 3 hours afterwards too, than I expected to be. And I put a lot of that. I put a lot of that on our ice baths, our cold plunges that we take, because they've just been so beneficial for our bodies.
Okay,
here we go. Jeff making the first attempt.
Yep, down to just the two teams here.
Yes, yep. And this is this was our game plan. This is what we wanted to do. May the best team win.
See, I like that from Chris Bey there. Logically, he saw Jeff going up, he takes him down, and he moves the ladder out of the way. He's like, none of this BS.
Yeah,
we're not ready yet.
Yep.
I don't want to give any opportunity to the Hardys to win.
There you have it. These guys have their combo moves, no doubt.
What do you think of Ace Austin, by the way?
I like both those guys. Yeah, I think they're both talented.
There it is.
Big plot twist. They got me. The crowd reacted so big to that. It got me fired up. You could legitimately see how I felt genuinely fired up at that point.
Looks smooth.
Here we go. us trying a double to get the titles. Shit, you have to go up higher. So as you want to, I feel like the older you get, you want to get up to like the third or fourth rung. You're like, maybe I can get it from here where I don't have to go up that high, where I don't have to work on balancing so much.
Is it easier to balance a ladder when you have someone else's weight on it, or is it more difficult?
Yeah. With two people climbing it, easier to balance. It's going to be a lot more stable, no doubt. So here we go. Once again, that was a good little deal. I saw Ace like looked up and he saw that Jeff was already coming up and rising, and he went to go get on top of him.
Calling for poetry in motion from ABC there.
Mm-hmm.
To an uppercut. That's a cool combo. Very nice combos.
They're combo guys. They have a myriad of combos. I can tell you that.
Yeah, they'll beat you in a lot of ways.
Yeah, they certainly will.
But you see, like that type of style, Matt, that's going back to our conversation earlier about the WWE ID stuff. Like that stuff that originates from the indie style. And that's fun stuff.
No doubt. And I think, putting that mix in, even this deal here, putting that mix in with something like myself and Jeff, where we're much more, just very much white bread baby faces, where we're just straightforward, our moves. We'll throw in a new one every now and then, but we're not a team that does like a combo with like 5 or 6 different, different pieces that equal one big series. Right. And that's a very popular style nowadays. You see it a lot in AEW. You see it from these guys, and it is great. I think that the combination in those styles, I think it's beneficial for the match.
Brother Nero taking quite a beating here. All right, back up.
Brother Nero in with a crazy. Well, that double stomp on that ladder was rough.
See, this is the John Alba ladder we got here.
Well, kind of. This is a different ladder. This is a ladder Jeff found, and Jeff couldn't wait to get creative with this.
Oh, it's got like no. Oh, that's interesting. It's got no hinges. Okay.
This is a ladder that extends out to 24 feet.
Wow. Okay.
When it's all the way extended. And
look at that. That's cool. All right.
You see, Jeff is trying to extend it all the way already.
It was deceptive.
Because all he is looking for is chaos, and he spent too long messing with the ladder, and these guys grabbed him.
Let me ask, for a match like this, you guys are the ladder match pros. That look brutal.
Yeah.
You guys are the ladder match pros here, but there's clearly a lot of influence from ABC. Is this a equal thirds, everyone has input sort of deal? Are you guys leading the way on putting this match together?
Yeah, we were leading the way in putting it together, but if you're dealing with me and Jeff, there's always going to be equal input. Like I want ideas from everyone, because I want to, when everyone chimes in and it's a brainstorm session, that's when the greatest ideas happen. So now look, they extended the ladder and they're like, oh, this thing is just big. And he's like, maybe I can climb it. Here, just hold it up, man. Hold it up.
That's
like,
cool.
Look how crazy this thing looks. You know what I mean?
That's gnarly.
Like I said,
Jeff just found that ladder.
What's that?
Jeff just found that ladder.
Yeah, it's a pretty common thing, but yeah, Jeff, this is so funny. He's right there. Whoa! If you don't have somebody holding it,
bump.
Yeah, that ladder's gonna go. Yeah, that was wild. That was a fun moment. Because
Jeff
it is
like
one
a kid in a candy store, Matt, when he sees all like other people pitching these death-defying stunts.
Yeah, no, he's always in for it. Oh, cool. Yeah, no, you'll see his face light up a lot of it. I mean, this is Jeff's wheelhouse. You know what I mean? Just being creative, being different. Jeff, yeah. I mean, this ladder was so long. You almost hit the commentators right there. Look at that, which was wild.
It's all right. Tom Hannafin could use a little discipline,
a shot or two. So the
Penn State guy, Matt.
Okay, there you go. All right. Well, you don't have to get hot. So this was Jeff's biggest contribution to the match, right? He had an idea, we're going to do this. So there's an apparatus. That's what people had called it back in the day, like in WWE, when you build these crazy things with ladders in between. So there's a little apparatus, and I think whenever I say this, like this is one of Jeff's big additions to the match. I think they'll clearly see that as things pan out here. That's with me and Chris Bey. I have to hurry my ass up to catch this quick dude.
Well, I brought it up here many times, and it's something Bischoff and I used to talk about. It's not always about being better than. Sometimes it's about being different than. And with how many TLC matches you've done, it's really hard to be different than. So when you get a ladder like this involved, it is.
Yeah, and right. That's what we're shooting for here. Like, you can't really top what's been done. You just can be different and be original. And it's funny. Chris and I are up here fighting, and now look at Ace Austin and Jeff Hardy, what they're doing. They've both procured a couple chairs. And now they're on this crazy ladder, and we're over here fighting for the titles. I
do love the overhead cam.
Yeah, the overhead cam is amazing. So many great shots.
It is like out of a movie.
It is.
Feels like Duel of the Fates and the Phantom Menace. You got Qui-Gon Jinn and Darth Maul fighting here.
When they started walking out on that, it got such a huge pop. They're like, ooh. Now these two are fighting, going nuts.
It is crazy that you guys are doing this at this stage in your career. It really is.
It's funny. I mean, I felt at home out there. I felt as comfortable as I possibly could be.
Oh, goodness. That's two bad ladder bumps Jeff's taken in this match.
Yeah, Jeff has taken a couple tough ones, yeah.
So we have a double down here, but the system's still down on the outside as well.
Well,
and I was just about to say this would be a natural part for them to come back in, and here they are.
Yeah. And once again with chairs. Holy shit. I got to tell you what. Eddie Edwards, whenever he chops you, he has so much velocity on his chops. He chops the shit out of you. These chair shots were brutal. He's got a lot of velocity. He is a hard swinger, man.
Take the air out of you?
I mean, they were there. You felt them. And it's just let me feed it for another one. Let me feed it for another one. Oh. They were there. They were intense.
Trying to get the apparatus out of the ring.
Yeah, they got the apparatus out. They threw on Chris. So yeah, these guys.
This is fun, man. I'm enjoying this. This is a very different ladder match.
Yeah, yeah, and I mean, like, it has a lot of structure too. Like, these guys are kind of back, and they're obviously pissed off because we teamed up on them and took them out right from the jump. So now they want to cause a lot of chaos and damage. And especially, I love the way how we did that 4-way down off that interesting apparatus, and then boom, right there, right on cue, they were back in action.
As I like to call it on Wrestling According to Album, when we do tape studies, the double down.
Yeah, there you go. And now you see that there's all sorts of tables they're lining up to, like, put us back through tables as we put them through tables much earlier. They're going to exact their revenge for what we did to them at the very beginning of this match, and they want to win the title. So it's pretty crystal clear they've got a game plan.
No shortage of hardware here, that's for sure.
Yeah, and it's great too how they did that, and they would come back in, keep working over the guys, make sure to keep everybody down.
Oh, how's that diverticulitis feeling?
It's good. If I could feel anything, I would let you know, but it's good. I think I'm callous. I'm callous to all that nowadays.
Taking that chair shot right to the gut.
Whenever that happens, it reminds me of when Stone Cold Steve Austin gave me that machine gun, all those shots whenever they beat us down after Team Extreme beat those guys, the 2-man power trip and Stephanie. He went nuts with that chair. He was all
yeah.
All right, so here we go. I guess we're going first before ABC, it looks like. And how dare they try and add insult to injury?
Oh, double side effect.
Double side effect, yeah.
Wow. That's personal.
Yeah. Insult to injury. And it almost hurts to see Jeff's beautiful tables get broken like that.
Yeah.
He spent
Is he
so much
auctioning
time
them
hanging.
off? Did he save them?
No, they all broke into little pieces, and they're all being auctioned off for charity.
Very nice.
Yeah,
Very nice.
which is very cool. We signed probably 50 pieces that night. They already started selling them that evening.
That's cool.
So I think all this stuff, I think they're going to cut the canvas up. I think everything's going to be auctioned off to charity, if I'm not mistaken.
That's great.
Oh, here we go. We have a little bit of a
Little hope spot.
Yep, ABC
Ooh.
trying to come back. What these
Very
guys
nice. Lots of good combos in this match in general.
Yeah, they it's one of those things, man. I feel like there's a lot of people that just because they don't have a channel that particularly gets TNA, they don't see it and they don't realize how good it is, But I think once you sit down and you watch it, you realize it's really, really good. If they can find a bigger platform, which is something they're actively working on, than Access TV, I think that would be a game changer because the product is really, really strong right now. And also has a ton of compelling moments and just stories, I think.
Here we go. Babyface is making a little bit of a comeback here.
Yeah. There we go. We're probably going to see another combo right here.
I just saw the ref just said something to you and Jeff on the outside. Is that the ref communicating where you are in the match, that there's a spot coming up?
I would guess it was the time. That would probably be my guess. Yeah. Like we were, I asked them to keep me alert specifically so I could make sure to run stuff.
Gotcha. Are you like the quarterback here in this match?
I mean, everybody was working together, but like obviously no one has done more of these matches than myself and Jeff. So we probably were gonna just kind of take the lead as it was anyway, or me. I would say, Jeff is once again he's the rock star. I'm the architect. That's kind of our relationship.
It's assumed at this juncture.
Yeah. Yes. Ooh, there we go.
Very nice spin out power bomb.
A little blue thunder.
Little blue thunder.
Eddie Edwards, once again, I can't go without saying he is such an extremely talented pro wrestler. He is so good. He gets it. He has great psychology. He is really, really talented. And once again, big props to Brian Myers for, upon leaving WWE, going out, reinventing himself and doing all the stuff he's done. Like him and Eddie have been great together as a team. I think they're a fabulous team together.
I get why he's always so angry. He's a tortured Mets fan.
There you have it, right?
He's always angry.
I would imagine any of the Yankees fans are probably angry right now also.
You could have gone like the entire podcast without bringing it up.
Oh, it is what it is. Watch this.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Oh, goodness.
The air he got on that was incredible.
Certainly did.
He got the little super boost too. I don't know if you saw that or not, but from Ace.
Yeah. That's cool.
Uh-oh. The ladder got moved out of position a little bit. Look at Ace.
So he's walking the ladder over.
Yeah. He's like,
while
move,
he's
move.
on
I got it.
My
and
goodness.
you know what's funny? He said he used to walk in. He worked in Hot Topic, and he would do that in the store whenever he was putting stuff on.
Oh
Hot
my
Shelf.
goodness!
Yeah. This is how that spot came to be.
It's like stilts.
Yeah,
that's great. Hear that, folks? If you work in retail, you too might end up wrestling the Hardys in a TLC match one day.
You got it. In the main event of the biggest pay-per-view of the year. Oh, here we go. Is Chris Bey gonna do it? Is he gonna do it? Oh no.
Uh-oh.
The ladder taking
I've seen this before, Matt.
Oh no.
It's deja vu all over again, as Yogi Berra would say.
Oh boy. There's no way you avoided this clip on social media, right?
I saw this.
Yeah, you had to. I was gonna say this was everywhere.
And there you go.
Yeah.
It is a throwback to WrestleMania 17, TLC 2.
Yeah.
Brian Myers spearing Chris Bey off the belts. And it's cool because Brian Myers, of course, one of the original edge heads.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. That was a real fun callback.
And I thought it was cool how he swung him into it like a pendulum.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we had done that, so we knew it took great expression on the crowd there.
That was
There
awesome. You mentioned to me that you had to there was some science behind that, right?
there's a little science behind that, yeah. Yeah, just so there's a little bit of a swing so the guy can actually, come into the bump in a certain way so his momentum can take him down the
Well,
proper
and you got to
way
be sure
to
too
book
with
flat.
the weight on it that it's got to be able to carry that weight while he's hanging from it.
Yeah, it does. We checked thoroughly, and they said it could hold 2,000 pounds. So we thought Chris Bey would not be over 2,000 pounds. We thought it could hold him.
Yeah, I think he's a little under that.
Oh, here we go. The Hardys are back.
Is that a nice receipt for Eddie Edwards?
I gave him what I could. I gave him what I could, man. Here we go. But this, a twist of hate couldn't happen to a better guy.
There you go. Mm.
Mm.
Tell me how that move's executed.
Um,
Like when you got his head between the chair.
Sure. You literally just take it down and you go down hard and you try and make the chair land flat and hope it doesn't kill you.
Oh, okay.
So, I mean, it's an aggressive move. It's going to hurt a little bit, but it is an aggressive move that that looks killer. And in the big scheme of things, it is relatively safe if done right.
Back on the outside here.
It is. I will say it's a very terrifying thing to put that chair on your head. I mean, because you have to have full trust in who's doing it with you. Because like if that chair's on your head and someone doesn't execute it right, there's a lot of things could go wrong. So this is pretty amazing. So this is something Jeff came with while we were just kind of brainstorming.
Okay, wait. What happened there? Did he
yeah.
just not get the momentum to slide down like a
No,
like a sled?
he just wanted to, like, he had sat down and slid. We were out live, the red light was on and the cameras were rolling, and Jeff said, "Oh, I thought it'd be like Sabu. I'd jump into it and slide into him and kick him." Because he did it a few times earlier where he slid down and successfully could do the kick at the end. So he got a little fired up, and and the chair bounced from underneath him.
So it just shit happened sort of thing.
Yeah. Yeah. And once again, it wasn't a big moment or whatever, but it was something very important to Jeff because he felt he was being creative.
Yeah, sure.
So here we go. Once again, Jeff, as a wild man, 47 years old, the fact that he's still going to the top of these 12 or 14 feet ladders, whatever this is just insane.
Oh, oh man, that looked like it hurt.
There you go. I'm sure it didn't feel great.
He was really close to that ladder. Is his head all right?
His head hit the ladder.
Is he all right?
Never done that. Yeah, he was. I mean, he scraped his head. He thought it was going to be gushing blood, but it wasn't. It was scraped. So
was
he was
the
all right.
table just not far out enough? Was Brian Myers not far out enough? What happened there?
If I would have been Jeff, I would have put him probably in the middle of both tables. But I think Jeff said it there. Jeff just felt like it was so high, he had to go straight down. So he was just a little closer to the ladder than normal.
There's Matt Hardy alone in the ring. Someone's stern.
I am hurting. I am hurting for real at this point. I'm sure we all are.
The adrenaline only takes you so far.
Oh, I don't even know if I produce adrenaline anymore.
You're tapped out.
My system is so my body is so diminished, as you say. So
sure, the skill set is diminished.
Well, maybe my adrenaline has diminished too.
Uh-oh.
Here we go. Damn.
Oh! Pretty good rope crotch there, won't lie.
The Snow Witch.
The Snow Witch herself.
She'd been a big thorn in our side during our chase for those titles.
Oh, boy. Are you about to delete her?
Well, R.I.P. Snow Witch.
We'll justify it that it was on behalf of your wife. It was your wife's honor.
There you have it. Here we go. This could be it. Certainly hope I don't. Oh,
where did kendo stick come from?
I certainly hope I don't get hit by anyone who can swing things hard. The kendo stick is Alicia's.
She brought it out.
Here we
Oh,
go. There's
man.
Eddie making the climb.
Oh, he's the cream filling between two Oreo cookies here. Ugh. Well, what goes up must come down.
It has to, right?
Oh my goodness, that table exploded.
Yeah, it did. Yeah, exploded. Both did.
There we are.
And here we go. Look at the people. They're bouncing a little bit. Could this be it? This is it.
Good stuff. The Hardys are tag champs.
There you have it. They were
Look
so
at
great with the
that.
celebration.
What do you think watching it back, Matt?
I liked it. I was extremely happy with it. It was a great match. Everyone got through relatively unscathed. So we went out. We had the crowd. Everybody did their job, and everybody was great in it. I can't put over all the talent that participated in that match with us enough.
It's funny. I saw some people didn't love it, and watching it back, I thought that was great. I thought that was really fun. The only hiccup was the Jeff spot, and it was a small thing that you can overlook. It's not the end of the world, right? Like
it doesn't. I mean, like it's like once again, it's real. Like I don't care if something like that isn't perfect. I mean, that would happen if it was a real fight. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's just like I don't mind moments like that at all. It's like it's very, very real.
And it didn't destroy any momentum for the match or anything. It wasn't this major thing in the match that went wrong.
It was a little small thing Jeff was going to do that was a very Jeff Hardy type deal.
I thought that was super fun. I thought it was super fun. It's different. There's a lot of different stuff that I'd never seen out of a TLC style match before. So that's always thumbs up for me on the Alba 5-star scale. I'm going to give you a solid 4 stars in that one. I loved it. It was real good and super fun. So
there you have it.
Everyone did the job, and the spear from the ladder from Brian Myers looked awesome. So I'll really know it's a good if cage match gives me a good rating. I'll look for the cage match rating if you want me to try to find what they gave for that one. I'll see if I.
Sorry, I could not resist. Sorry.
No,
my rating for the match was the people in the crowd, and it was 5 stars for them, and then obviously our line and just so many people that came through and complimented us on us. Like we were serving the people we were working for in that venue, and that is what was most important.
Of course. Well, I'll tell you this: the show itself had they rated by shows. The show itself had an average of 7 out of 10 rating out of a valid 69 votes. Nice. And I mean, people seem to like the show and thought it was fun. So that's good, man. That's all good all around. I really enjoyed the match, all things considered. The cage match rating for the match was 5.98 out of 10. I think it was higher than that. I'd go much higher than that.
Yeah, I mean, it's just once again like the internet, man, is it's one of those things. Just some people there, they just it is what it is. To each their own, but it's just it's not the most important thing. It's just also a source which people get the most immediate feedback from, and it's something that people love to look at because you can have that immediate feedback in the moment or whatever. But the best feedback you can use to gauge how good your match was are the people that were in the venue, in the building, watching your match.
Well, for the record, I'm not going to end your push because the match got 5.98 stars out of 10. So you're good in my book. Good stuff, Matt. I really encourage people to check out that match. I also encourage you to head on over to advertisewithhardy.com if you'd like to promote your business to the extreme. Get it out in front of thousands of listeners and viewers every single week right here on the Extreme Life of Matt Hardy. Matt, anything else you'd like to add here?
No, man, this was fun. I just want to thank all of the diehardies, all of the fans that have supported myself and Jeff, that have believed in myself and Jeff, that never doubted myself and Jeff, and that are following us with this new opportunity we've been given. We both feel like we have a lot left to do. We have a lot of cool stuff left to do that we can do to help, and we can also give back in helping, with being in a position to stay relevant. There are a lot of people we can elevate. There are people we can build. There are a lot of things we can do where we still have fun and enjoy this, which was, our dream. It was our passion, and we're still able to do it on a very high level. So thank you guys for the people who have supported us and believed in us.
The Hardys will not die, and neither will this podcast. The words have been spoken. We'll see you next week right here on The Extreme Life. Matt Hardy.
Delete!